In 2017, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild set the world on fire. It was the biggest, deepest, and most exciting entry yet in one of the biggest, deepest, and most exciting franchises in all of gaming, with a totally unique art style, new gameplay mechanics, and limitless potential. It was amazing, getting nearly perfect review scores and selling, wait for it, over 31 million copies to date. So of course we knew there'd be a sequel. Then, during E3 in 2019. Oh man, there's that iconic art style. Hell yeah. Oh, that must be Link. Wait, who the hell is that? This isn't Breath of the Wild 2, what is this? Gods and Monsters. The reveal was met with a resounding, It was pretty obvious what was going on here.
Oh my god, it's Breath of the Wild! It's Breath of the Wild, and it's not Breath of the Wild, but boy, it does seem very inspired by it.
Ubisoft Zelda confirmed.
Oh, it's like a Breath of the Wild style game.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's a Breath of the Wild shot. Right there.
And inspired by Breath of the Wild? You kidding me?
Yeah.
Okay, so Ubisoft was inspired by Zelda. Now, it's not the first game to take inspiration from another. In fact, Breath of the Wild didn't come out of thin air. Nintendo incorporated elements from other open-world games, like those in Ubisoft games. But the comparisons with Breath of the Wild led many to write off the game as a cynical cash grab, and never looked back. But that was a huge mistake, because not only is this one of Ubisoft's best games in years, in many ways, it's better than Breath of the Wild. Hear me out. The inspirations for Gods and Monsters actually came from a glitch when developing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. According to game director Scott Phillips, the game came from a software bug that turned humans into Cyclops. Never to let a good bug go to waste, the team at Ubisoft Quebec turned this simple bug into a fully realized game. Gods and Monsters initially targeted a February 2020 release. But after the abysmal reception for Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint, Ubisoft delayed this game to give the development team additional time to, quote, ensure their respective innovations are perfectly implemented so as to deliver optimal experiences for players. Just a quick note to all of the developers and publishers out there. You should do this every time. The development team used the additional time to not only polish the game, but also to replace the original narrator, Greek poet Homer, with the duo narrators Zeus and Prometheus. In September 2020, the new name was revealed to be Immortals Fenyx Rising. Whatever happened to Gods and Monsters? That name was so cool, evoking mystery and epic stakes while remaining short and punchy. Immortals Fenyx Rising sounds like word salad. Just salad getting tossed all over the place. Apparently, there was a trademark dispute with Monster Energy of all things, where they stated that the name Gods and Monsters would cause confusion. Like anything with the word monster in it is instantly confusing. Am I playing a video game or drinking poison? I can't tell. I'm so confused. So, to avoid the apparent risk of confusion, Ubisoft changed the name to put more emphasis on the game's protagonist, Phoenix. And at the tail end of 2020, Immortals Fenyx Rising released across all last-gen and current-gen consoles, PC, and even Stadia. The reviews were great, sitting around the 8 out of 10 range, but sales were never incredible. Those comparisons with Breath of the Wild, alongside the new title, left many confused. What even is this game, and why should I play it? Well, let me tell you. Immortals Fenyx Rising is an incredibly fun, engaging, and unique adventure, with great characters, amazing combat, and rewarding exploration. And sure, you'll see the fingerprints of its inspirations throughout, but on the whole, this is one of the best and most unique adventures in years. The story is one of gods and monsters. See? It was perfect.
How I've missed you, Prometheus, my favorite cousin.
You chained me to this rock and fed my liver to an eagle.
Out of love.
We open with Zeus visiting Prometheus on the mountain he was chained to. Zeus asks for a prophecy of how the gods would deal with the release of the Titan Typhon. Instantly, you're captivated by the amazing art direction. Everything is vibrant, beautiful, and expressive. And somewhat unexpectedly, the humor with Zeus and Prometheus slinging zingers is fantastic.
I can't. He took my lightning. He took everything. Even the other gods are missing.
Look to the mortals.
That's done. Those evil, imbecilic, tasteless parasites were all turned to stone.
This game just nails Greek mythology, capturing the petty, vindictive, and frankly horny nature of the gods. You'll hear about all the awful things they've done out of spite or sheer boredom, like how Zeus beds pretty much anything that moves, then turns the women into cows so his wife doesn't get mad. The witty narration between Zeus and Prometheus serves as a backdrop with anecdotes or commentary on what you're doing. You're not really the main character. You're more like a side character, just a pawn for the gods named Phoenix, a lowly Greek soldier whose ship has just crashed upon the Golden Isles, a paradise made for the gods. Everyone on the island has been turned to stone, and the gods themselves are trapped with their essence stolen by Typhon. You're no hero, but you feel compelled to take up your sibling's sword and join the fight. Why?
Because that's what heroes do.
You're just a regular person who's thrust into this outrageous world, a world of gods and monsters. Damn it. Phoenix grounds things nicely, making for a perfect fish-out-of-water story. You'll learn about the world in this strange land as Phoenix does. This is a big story with big stakes. But unlike so many other games these days, it never slips into despair. This isn't a Greek tragedy, it's a comedy through and through, giving a fun twist to the stories and characters of Greek mythology, poking fun at legends and having you see familiar characters in a new light.
Crap. All right, the jig is up. Just get it over with. Fillet me, it'll numb my pain.
Prometheus narrates as you play, with a goofy Zeus rudely butting in to mock his storytelling ability, brag about himself, or demand he makes things more exciting.
Together, they had 6,000 children.
6,000? That's way too many. Keep it small like me. I'm only at 54. That I know of, anyway.
Writer Jeffrey Yohalim, who worked on Assassin's Creed 2, Far Cry 3, and Child of Light, served as narrative director and lead writer. He talks about his inspirations for the humor from films like Robin Hood Men in Tights, The Princess Bride, and The Naked Gun, and I can absolutely see that here. He also talked about adapting Greek mythology for modern audiences. Yohalim believed that the capability of Greek gods and heroes to commit evil acts made them more human, saying that the Greeks believed in balance, where what makes us human and makes us complete are both our strengths and weaknesses. And I couldn't agree more. And while the writing is so fun and engaging, it's made all the better with the consistently awesome gameplay.
That prophecy is yours. What do you want?
The gameplay certainly shares elements with other games, but brings them all together in such a satisfyingly cohesive way that it remains consistently fun to play even after dozens of hours, with a solid mix of physics-based puzzles, exploration, and combat, with numerous emergent gameplay systems that all interact in interesting ways. The mythical Golden Isle is vast, beautifully realized, and full of life. Each of the 7 distinct regions are a reflection of their resident god. From the idyllic paradise of Aphrodite's Valley of Eternal Spring to the crumbling ruins of Hephaestus's Forge Lands. And at the heart of the island is the Gate of Tartaros, a lava-spewing volcanic fissure where you'll confront Typhon for the final showdown after rescuing the gods. Each region looks, feels, and plays differently, introducing new hooks and mechanics, always keeping things fresh. The Ubisoft open-world formula gets a lot of justifiable criticism for its checkbox design, having you visit locations simply to mark them off a list. But that isn't Immortals. The game's map is incredibly dense with stuff to do, but you're driven forward out of curiosity and rewarded for exploring. While the map is huge, you'll rarely feel the need to fast travel, since exploration is so much fun and traversal just feels so good. You're accompanied by Phosphor, a bird who can identify locations of interest on the map. The world is fully explorable from the start, and you're only limited by your imagination and your stamina. You can climb on pretty much any surface for as long as your stamina meter holds out. If it gets critically low, you can drink a potion to let you hold on a bit longer. You can sneak up on animals to tame them and turn them into mounts, like a solid gold horse and a blue unicorn, of course. They have their own stamina meter, which varies in size from beast to beast. Early on, you'll find wings letting you glide across long distances, assuming you have the stamina for it. Puzzles are absolutely everywhere, whether required to solve as part of a quest within the Vaults of Tartaros, which are like challenge dungeons, or just found when out exploring. I was actually surprised by how much of a puzzle game this is, and I have to say, generally, I'm not a huge fan of puzzles. I tend to get frustrated, particularly when the rules are unclear, but that rarely happens in Immortals. How to do it is the trick, and I found the balance to be just about perfect. Not too easy, and not too tough. It may take a few minutes to figure it all out, but I almost never found myself stuck. Now, if you still find puzzles a chore, there's a ton of accessibility options that also extend to the puzzles that help make them easier. I always love the ability to dial in a game so that I can play it how I want. The Vaults of Tartaros are a particular highlight and always exciting to find. They appear as volcanic openings in the ground and contain elaborate physics and environmental puzzles. Some of them are brilliantly designed, and some are just so-so, but they hit way more than miss. And speaking of hits, the combat is another highlight with a thrilling, fast-paced mix of weapons and magic. Each of your skills and weapons have a different purpose and impact, forcing you to think on your toes and constantly mix things up for each situation. Axes are slow but powerful. Swords are weaker but keep you nimble when up close. And bows let you pepper enemies with arrows from a distance. A perfect dodge or parry slows time, letting you get a few extra strikes in. You can also pick up objects in the environment, like boulders, and hurl them at enemies for massive damage. And that's not to mention the tons of mythic abilities that you'll acquire over the course of the adventure. From Ares' spears bursting through the ground to launch enemies in the air, to a beefy hammer for pummeling your enemies into a fine paste. The combat just feels fantastic, and all of these abilities serve you in puzzle solving as well. Figuring out how to use everything at your disposal for each situation in and out of combat is a real joy. There's a wide variety of enemies, from ogres to minotaurs and cyclops. Now, each enemy type requires different tactics to beat, and when multiple different types gang up together, you have to keep on your toes. Enemies hit hard and are relentless in their desire to turn you into a grease stain. The fun of the game, however, is in that challenge. I distinctly remember stumbling upon a minotaur early in the game. Based on its size alone, I knew he could wreck me. But I didn't feel the need to run. Instead, I felt the exhilaration of solving this challenge. And even though it took a few tries of getting pummeled, I finally beat him and it felt awesome. There's a really satisfying sense of power creep as you level up your arsenal of new weapons and abilities. Within a few hours, you go from a scrawny twerp to a finely tuned monster-slaying machine. You'll constantly be picking up all sorts of things, like ambrosia, Zeus's lightning, coins of Charon, golden amber, blue, yellow, red, and purple adamantine, flower nectar, Olympian figs, blue mushrooms, and pomegranates. There's also 4 different potions to craft, tons of loot like new armor, weapons, wings, and skins for Phosphor. That's not to mention the multiple large skill trees for combat and traversal abilities. Yeah, it's a lot. Like, a lot. But through the smart design, you constantly feel a sense of progression and never feel overwhelmed by it all. Nothing you do feels like padding. You're constantly building and developing Fenyx, not just adding more damage numbers, but meaningfully changing up the gameplay, letting you take on the tough enemy who kicked your ass, or finally reach the ledge that was always just out of reach. The downside of this is that it doesn't take long for your map to become insanely littered with icons as you tag stuff. Okay, can we all agree this is one of the best looking open world games Ubisoft has ever made? I mean, just look at it. It's way more appealing than the bland sort of realism they've spewed out in Valhalla. The world of Immortals Fenyx Rising is vibrant, expressive, and full of life. And the sense of scale, looking across the vast expanses from the top of many mountains, towers, and statues is nothing short of jaw-dropping. The rich colors, brilliant animations, and fun expressed in the art style is the perfect complement to the overall lighthearted tone. Unlike Breath of the Wild, Immortals is able to take advantage of the more powerful consoles and PC with nice shaders, reflections, and other details that you wouldn't expect from this type of cartoonish art style. There's both performance and resolution modes, but I stuck with the performance mode to take advantage of the sweet 60 frames a second while still looking great. Famed composer of the Ori games, Gareth Coker, was lead for the music, and once again did an absolutely incredible job. Every single track is memorable, catchy, and fitting. I want to quickly touch on the character creator for Fenyx. Now you know I love me a good character creator, and while this isn't the most flexible, there were some decent options on offer. You start out by picking either a male body or female body. Mix and match with various voice options.
Stop ripping my skin off, it tickles!
And then don your hero in all sorts of accessories and physical attributes. And what's cool is you're not stuck with your initial look. Once you unlock the Hall of Gods, you can use Aphrodite's beauty chair to make further changes at any point in the game. Okay, so I've been heaping a lot of well-earned praise on this game, but there's one big blemish. This game does include microtransactions. If you want, you can pay to win this single-player game. You can buy better gear and more experience, but thankfully it's never needed and can be completely ignored. But why would you do that? Why would you pay to win alone? That's like paying someone else so you can yourself off. Outside of that, there are weekly challenges that reward you with the premium currency if you simply want to earn those benefits. So do that instead. This is one of my favorite open world completion experiences. Unlike many recent Ubisoft games, this never felt like work to get to 100%. Even with everything there is to do, and yes, there's a lot, I was having fun, and that's really the key to a great completion experience. You can get all the trophies in a single run, and other than one trophy, nothing is missable. Most trophies you'll unlock or have made good progress on by the end of the story, which is good design in my opinion. You'll likely just have a few that remain, requiring you to max out all of your stats that you can complete in the postgame. Expect about 40 hours to do everything. Now, if you're craving more after getting the platinum, you're in luck. There's actually 3 DLC packs to extend the experience, with additional trials, new characters to play as, and even new beefy side stories. Okay, a fun game with solid reviews means the sequel should be out any day, right? Well, not so fast. While a sequel was in development at Ubisoft Quebec, according to VGC, it was cancelled so the team could pivot and focus on, quote, its most prominent franchises such as Assassin's Creed. Yeah. So definitely, we should cancel a unique and endlessly fun game franchise so we can get more Assassin's Creed. You know, if it was called Gods and Monsters, no. I'm gonna let it go. Immortals Fenyx Rising shares ideas with other games, and so does Breath of the Wild, and so do a million others. Games very rarely have completely new, never-before-seen ideas. What's important is that they take these ideas and make them their own, creating an overall experience that's unique. And Immortals Fenyx Rising has done that in spades. It's so easy to like this game, with its relentless sense of adventure, surprising humor, and a world that's bursting with color and life. The unique spin on Greek mythology, Memorable characters and consistently fun and creative things to do around every corner make playing it a joy throughout. Despite the terrible name, this is one incredible game. Okay, you've heard my thoughts on Immortals Fenyx Rising, and I'd love to hear yours as well. Now, if you liked the video, hit like and of course subscribe, and if you want another game that you haven't played, check out my video right here. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.